classic Alloutblitzle moments, but in my defense, I got home today. Don't be mad at me. Um, so yeah, you may or may not have heard, but over this past weekend was the Louisville Regional Championships. The first American Regional of the Stellar Crown format. I happened to go, and yeah, I did some stuff, did some things, and I kind of in typical, or I guess, yeah, I've been doing this for all my other tournament runs, so I decided, and it's gotten some positive reception, so I mean, why not, let's just run it back. Hopefully provide some sort of that content value, but yeah, so I suppose I could just start from the beginning here, because like, yeah, I feel like I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm tired. But I guess how we got here could be kind of fun information. So let me stop covering the list here. This is a list I ended up on, very very similar to what I've been streaming for like the last, I don't know, however many weeks. And I really wanted to play Stunfisk. I got asked that like multiple times over the weekend, like, yo, where's the Stunfisk? Did you play the Stunfisk? I had it in the list that I submitted Thursday, but I chickened out. On Friday when I got to the venue, I bought Erica's invitation. I put the second rotom in my deck, and took out these Stunfisk pieces, unfortunately, but honestly, I try to keep this like whole channel and all this stuff positive. Like, I really try not to just like be negative and stuff, and to be perfectly honest, and I guess if you watch like the interview that I had on the Lake of Rage podcast, you may have noticed this, but I wasn't thrilled to be on control for this event. um for every other event I played it, I didn't just play it because it was control. I played it because I thought it was the best choice. But for this tournament, I felt like it was my best option, and like not because it was like this like most well positioned deck. I didn't think it was poorly positioned, but also I didn't feel like it was like especially. It didn't feel like an above average pick either. It just felt like sort of another deck in a lot of ways. Um, so I wasn't thrilled to be on control, but I just felt like this is my best option. Like, I could switch over to something else. I had a couple other cool lists I had access to that honestly I thought about swapping, but I was like, this is the deck that I played the best. It would just be silly to play something else. Like, even if it's a better position deck, I played hundreds of games with this deck. Like, it's fine. So I ended up sticking with it. Very similar to what I've been streaming. Since the deck wants to go blind first, I just wanted to play the second rotom. I just wanted to be super consistent. And Erica's is a card I know I've been kind of I've dumped on in the past, and it's not an amazing card, but like, Retreat Lock is a pretty big deal with this deck. It's a win. It can be a win con into a lot of matchups. Just sort of the issue is, it's kind of like it depends on our opponent like making it a real win condition. Like, most of the time they have to put something on their board that makes it a real option. So the Erica just makes Retreat Lock always a threat. It forces our opponent at the very least to Ultra Ball away bad Pokemon so that they don't get trapped. But at most, it can just sometimes steal games because the opponent's not expecting it, and we can grab something and Retreat Lock. Which over the course of the weekend, the Erica's definitely got its value. It definitely was better than Stunfisk. As funny as Stunfisk is, as cool as it would have been to get Stunfisk Limitless page, yeah, Erica's was definitely better. I don't know if it's the best use of the slot, but it did feel pretty solid. So other people who played the deck did get more value out of Erica than I did. So yes, overall the list was really good, and I was pretty happy with it. Over the course of the weekend, why is Mala really worth it? Yes. Having a Retreat Lock Pokemon that does not need double turbo energy, and it's only a single pricer is really good. It also means like you just don't have to play Night Stretcher if you want to retreat lock, because a lot of times you have to, like, without sisters, our best way of forcing a switch is to go for retreat lock, and just going in with Ogre Pawn really early in the game and knowing it's gonna bleed 2 prizes feels kind of bad. But we can set up that Mawile pretty early in the game, retreat lock, know where it's not gonna stick, but it's forcing a switch to only equal 1 prize, not putting pressure on our DTEs. So yeah, the Mawile was very good. I don't think I would cut it. I used it a lot. I feel like I kind of talked about Ericus too. I think about adding a Snorlax seems decent as Palkia and other stuff. I just think Mawile is better. Like, you can't get Lax active that easily. But yeah, against like Palkia and Serapagos that don't have a ton of gust, it does seem decent. Yeah, it doesn't seem horrible, I guess. But the Palkia matchup is not a matchup I feel like that's that big of a problem. Like, the biggest issue in that matchup is just setting up. And if you do that, you should win. If you don't do that, you're gonna lose. And I don't think Snorlax is what's like, that's not gonna save you from setting up. Cleffa is in a similar bucket to Lax, where you just can't get it active, so Rotom's gonna be more reliable draw. My 60th card, Erica's. It was solid, but it's probably not necessary. Regidrago, I'll talk about there in a minute. I did face one in the tournaments. And I guess one thing, I mean, shout out King Heracross, played the list, same 59 as me. We meant to end up on the same 60, but somehow we didn't. And spoiler alert, he got top 32. With Vacuum or Artisan instead of Vacuum, which I think could be optimal. I didn't use Vacuum that much. I never really feel like I needed an Artisan. But that is like another swap you could make with this list. The Vacuum was kind of cool in a couple spots, but also just having the consistency boost of Artisan maybe could have come up. I wasn't really like thinking about it too much throughout the day though, so I don't really remember if it would have like made a drastic impact or not. But yeah, really, I guess not too much to say about the list. Like, it's just been what I've been playing on the channel for a long time. I feel I feel like this is just kind of the best direction for control. I feel like it was ended up being a pretty good call for the events, because the top tables were pretty dominated by Bolts. There was quite a bit of stall near the top as well. But Bolt really had a surprise showing, which, especially because a lot of the Bolts ended up playing Slitherwing and not Sandy Shocks, is like one of this deck's better matchups. So ended up being a pretty good call. I think it's honestly a pretty solid play moving forward as well. I don't know why. I mean, I think Lost Box doing well is a little concerning, but I say overall this deck does seem pretty solidly positioned. Playing one Charm Cope. Maybe. I mean, it was Charm a ton, but Charm's a good card. I mean, at the very least, it's just another tool you can throw on Genesect. But yeah, I was pretty happy with the list. I never wanted Silene in all 12 rounds. There were a couple moments where I wanted sisters, but I never felt like I was losing a game because I didn't have sisters. It just sort of felt win more. But yeah, I really don't have anything to complain about the list. I feel like this was pretty good. I still feel like Control probably has some room to grow this format. Like, there maybe could have been. There's definitely still innovation to be done, but the list felt overall pretty strong and pretty solid. Why not Lost City over Vacuum? There's just not really much. What are we even trying to Lost City? Like, Sandy Shocks is just like, that against Bolt is just too hard of a play to pull off. We're putting down too many prizes. Against a lot of the Dusk decks, like, the main Dusk deck I was struggling into was Charizard, or was Dragapult, and Dragapult plays so little recovery anyway that doesn't really matter. They just play the one Night Stretcher, so like it just doesn't really matter. Like, they can get one Duskull back or something. Like, if they're assuming they pop like double Noir, they can't even they can't pop 3. So mainly attack for Zard, and I just didn't. I guess I correctly predicted Zard wouldn't be that big for this tournament, and I was fine taking like a mediocre Zard matchup. And even then, you still have to stick City. It's not that hard for them to just find Collapse. There's no easy way to recover City with this list. Part of the reason of playing the vacuum is in the pulp matchup, you can vacuum away their crystal and then Lecky it back immediately, so you have that city imbalance ready to go for when they put down their HQ or Sinnoh or whatever. Or Artisan's a lot slower of a card in that respect. How do you get 4/4 Arvins? I bought them over NAC. I've been playing Control for a while. My deck is very pretty. I'm very proud of it. Some Malo Visa Gomorrah. That deck's crazy. We'll talk about some of the weirder decks, or just all the decks from the tournament after I get through my own report. I'll talk about all that stuff. So I'll probably skip over those questions for now, but I'll get to them eventually. There's been beating online allegations. Not this time, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't really have any. Yeah. It's fine. Now I bet all the online only allegations replaced with the top 128 merchant allegations. Yeah, but your friend running bolt with the areas you're under, is that good? I actually like turbo, like just having full turbo bolt just seems kind of good. It's so much more sauce if they play Lucky. No, it's still free. You just sit there. If they're gonna sit there with Lucky, you can still just sit there with Luxury and snipe all their Lucky cards. And eventually you can go Zero 6 Iono. New allegations, never ending. As an industry plant, I have all kinds of allegations generated by Big Pika to help keep me relevant, you know? They wouldn't want their industry plant to lose relevancy. Yo, shout out Ben for finally getting a Limitless page. Bro's been one of Bennett Guardy's strongest soldiers for a very long time, and bro finally got a Limitless page. So shout out Ben. How does deck usually win? Most games are by deck out. We are just trying to create a board state where our opponents cannot get through one of our options. Either they have nothing that can get through or around Mimikyu. They can't one-shot Ursaluna, so we could just penny loop that until we took all 6 of our prizes. We could penny loop Chiyu over and over again until they decked out, or we could retreat lock something with Wellspring, Ogre, Punter, or Mawile after they ran out of switches. So yeah, think of it as more of as like a disruptive toolbox deck where we're just trying to use our various disruptive options to create a board state where our opponent can't win. So just trying to knock out specific attackers or discard specific cards to yeah, create a board state that's unbeatable, basically. Yeah, the stall match is basically unlosable. Unless they play something jank. Like, I guess Chi-Yu would probably be the most annoying card. Pidgeot V, we getting in control? No. You don't need to be, like, I'd say Pidgeot V is kind of a mid card in stall, honestly. It's just sort of a blank card that, it's just so you can't deck out. Like, decking out before our opponent is never a concern with this deck because we have Zerosix plus Iono, so we always can just throw away their hand, throw back in our hand, and then be able to win that war if that happens to come up. So decking out before our opponent is not something we're concerned about at all. Is it Erica for the pull matchup? It's not necessarily just for the pull matchup. That was one of the matchups we had in mind by when putting it in the deck. I just wanted Retreat Lock to be a more real win con. Like, it's so easy for most decks to just play around it. So just having that as like an additional win condition basically just seems pretty good. Something not needed? No. The only game I wanted to side Leon was when I prized double Pal Pad. Yeah, that's the only time I wanted it. Free switch card in Bolting scary? Nah, they have Slitherwing. They can't do much. They can't get through Mimis. They have to sit there and mill us with Sandy Shocks. It's cooked. That list is totally fine. Talking about Lost Box and Finals. I'll talk about all the other decks here after I get done with my personal tournament run and stuff. I know the Fisk. In my first list I submitted on Thursday afternoon, I had the Fisk in there, but when I actually got to Louisville Friday evening, picked up my swag, I talked to some smarter people, and I asked how big of a throw would playing Stein Fisk be, and the response the response I got varied, but the most positive endorsement I got of Fisk was it'd be dope if you got a limitless page for it, which basically translated as, yeah, the card's bad, but it'd be funny to see you succeed with it. So I mean, my goal is to do the best that I can, so it didn't seem like using Stunfisk would be accomplishing that objective. So card is cool, card is funny, but I ended up taking it up for second Rotom and Erica's, which I'm honestly very happy I did, because I mean, you never want to prize Rotom, that card's important, but like it's your whole early game, and Erica's did win me a couple games. So doesn't Slithering one hit Mimikyu? Not if Mimikyu has a cape on it. I hit one, spoiler, I hit one Slithering Bolt, and I absolutely farmed them. I won 2-0. It was one of my easier matches of the weekend. But yeah, I'm gonna probably move on from the list here. Any other questions, we can get to them later. But I'm honestly don't want to stream for too long tonight. I'm kind of tired from traveling and playing Pokemon, so yeah, I'm not out here trying to spend 6 hours talking about random stuff from Louisville. Yeah, the Slithering is just not very good against Mimikyu, and then like you can still penny it up. They knock themselves out. You can like send up Chi-Yu when they have their 3-retreat Slithering active, and just start milling them, and then or Fang Snipe them or whatever, and then they have to hard retreat back into Bolts, which wastes a lot of energies. Like, yeah, it's fine. When UIC, probably not. The door missed me, absolutely. I miss my door every day. But all right. I'll go back to this list later, but anyway, over to the actual tournament games portion of this other stream. I can even move over here. Whoa, that's crazy. Welcome to the Green Chi-Yu gang. Yeah, that's bro. Shout out for giving me a green Chi-Yu. Was the Pidgeot controlled? Somewhat. But yeah, I wasn't feeling bad going into the tournament, but I wasn't feeling amazing either. Like I knew I could do decent. I knew I was gonna do decent, but I just like, yeah, this a lot of matches do feel kind of sketchy. Let's just see how this goes. So yeah, round one, my opponent won the flip and called first, or called second, which in this format, if they're winning the flip and calling second, it means two things: they're on Bolt or they're on Stall. So either way, I'm happy to see that. Like I have absolutely zero problems with it. And sure enough, they flip over a Snorlax, and yeah, I basically cannot lose that matchup. I have to have atrocious prizes or do something really dumb. So I don't put down Pidgeot. I don't want it to get stuck. I just sit there, spam Chi-Yu game one, they deck out, and then game two, I prize double pennies, so I just decide to sit there looping Regieleki so I can't deck out. And they pick up their cards pretty quick, asking me if there was anything that they could have done to win, and it's kind of sad. No, there's nothing that Stall can do. That matchup is basically unwinnable for them unless they need something insane to happen, and they have to have it happen twice. So I was really happy to start the day off with a block. The set was over in like 20 minutes, so I got a lot of time to chill in between rounds, which always pretty nice. So and from around me, I saw a lot of Snorlax, which sort of surprised me. I didn't think the deck was like that amazing of a play, but the Stall enjoyers showed up. So after that, same thing happens. My opponent calls second again, and it's a Raging Bolts. And I don't remember what happened that first game, but wait, they play like a turn 2 Iono on me, and I just drew absolutely nothing. Kind of the trick for the Bolt matchup is, yes, Pidgeot is your deck. That's how your deck works, but you have to time it really precisely up against Raging Bolt, so it doesn't just die immediately. This person also had Sandy Shock, so they had a much more efficient Mimikyu answer. and I guess that like, kind of same thing in the Bolt match. Like you also don't want to bench Rotom. You just like want them to have to work as hard as possible to take their KOs, like whether it be like retreating the Raging Bolts, switching the Raging Bolts, spending catchers for one prizes. Like you just don't want them to be able to win the game in 3 turns. So I tried to keep my board super thin, but I got Iono'd into a pretty rough hand, and couldn't really find a way out of it. Game 2, I just stuck to the plan, kept a really thin single prize board, kept gusting up their bolts. I think I did get pretty lucky off like a Zerosix, and they threw away a couple gusts, so I was able to like establish Pidgeot. Because then once their gust is gone, you can just like almost infinitely penny loop your Mimikyu and keep gusting up bolts, and they really can't do anything. So got a quick and easy dub game 2. Didn't have a ton of time for game 3. I didn't offer a gentleman's, even though I kind of thought about it. But it's kind of same thing happened to game 2. I got them to burn another gust, working on Mimikyu, then put down Pidgeot. And they just kind of ran out of gas in the late game from retreating their bolts so much that I was able to just like, they were sitting there with like Raging Bolt active, no way to move it at like 4 prizes, and I was just sitting there milling with Chi-Yu, and they didn't really have any sort of way out of it. So yeah, always sketchy to like drop a game 1 with control, because it sort of feels like you have to like settle for a tie at best. But yeah, managed to get the dub like a few minutes before time was called, so I felt pretty good. So yeah, I can't really complain about the first 2 matchups. Like those are 2 of my best matchups, so pretty happy with those. Then round 3, I hit Dragapult Pidgeot. They also had the Dusknoir, so it did seem like this is where my deck kind of stopped working a little bit. My draws were kind of a hot and cold this entire tournament, and I set it up in extremely slow game 1. But they never set up Pidgeot that first game, because I guess they were afraid of getting retreat locked. So they got down to 1 prize, and my board was literally just Pidgeot with Miss Energy. That was it. So I hit him with the Ursaluna. I owned him to 1, punched their Dragapults. They just hit me for 200. I go Penny, KO, and yeah, they basically couldn't win off of it. They got too greedy in it, taking like some big combo play with Dusknoir. So they like went down to 1 prize with basically no way of taking their last prize. So I was able to have a pretty crazy Iono sweep the first game. But in the second game, I basically drew past for like 4 turns and lost. It was pretty miserable. Like their start was kind of bad too. Like they used Call for Family like the first 2 turns of the game with their Pidgey. But it sort of didn't matter. Because I just sat there going draw pass. So they of course got me game 2, leaving a ton of time for game 3. And they chose after like a really thin board game 1, and they got kind of bodied for it. They chose to go like a really wide board game 3, like triple Dreepy, 1 Pidgey, 1 Duskull. So I managed to set up the board so they had like a Dragapult active with 2 energies on it. Pidgeot had 1 energy on it from a Call for Family again. And then each one of their other 2 bench Dragapults had 1 energy on it. I was using a lot of sobs like force energies and stuff. So they were at 1 prize with only 1 energy left, and I made a critical mistake. They just had like a crazy 4 prize first blast Phantom Dive, and I was thinking I had to use Erika's to win the game. If I hit anything off of Erika's, they would have just been fully stuck, and I would have won. So I went quick search for Erika's after debating it for a couple minutes. I whiffed. They just played boss and won the game after that. So yeah, like one thing I do after I lose a set of Pokemon is like kind of sit there at the table for a few minutes and just try to play things back. Like almost every single game, whether you had a good hands, bad hands, you almost always could have done something differently. So I just try to think about like, well, okay, what could I have done here? And almost immediately I realized that in that situation where they had energy on their active pull, they had 5 energies total in play. That turn I went Erika gambled. If I would have just gusted up their Pidgeot and retreat locked it with a Charmed Mawile, they would have had to commit their last energy, and I just could have gusted up literally anything else, and I could have won if I would have just taken it slower. That one was on me. This definitely should have been a dub. Like I could have. The Erica play was a total gamble that honestly wasn't even that good. Like if I would have hit a Dreepy, they could have evolved it and got out of retreat lock. So that should have been a win. That was pretty big misplay game 3 by myself. So felt pretty bad, but yeah, like you just can't get too frustrated over the dumb stuff. Like you're gonna make mistakes, but I was a little tilted, but I just can't like ref your whole mental just halfway through the tournament on one stupid misplay. So yeah, I wasn't feeling great, but I mean you have to regroup. You can't dwell on the mistakes. So round 5, I was thrilled to see my opponent get mulligan 5 times and it be Iron Thorns. We played like a 10-minute set. It was over. So yeah, I extremely happy to hit Iron Thorns. That matchup is pathetically easy. they like didn't scoop game 1 immediately, even though I got the turn 1 triple Mimikyu. So I was kind of concerned that they may have had some sauce, but they put like one Cologne and carried Mimikyu, and I just recovered the 3rd Mimikyu, and they just scooped. And then game 2, they just said, show me 3 Mimikyus and I'll scoop. I got off in for double Mimi and started Mimikyu, so that was over really, really fast. So, actually not having a ton of super long rounds today, which was fine. It's fine. So yeah, I've hit like 3 really solid matchups in 4 rounds, and honestly, that Polt matchup should have been a dub. So we were like, honestly, I wasn't like, but like the thing is, like, I don't know if this is just like poor mental on my part, but like I'm doubting my own deck because I'm only winning because I'm facing like extremely favorables and my opponents aren't playing that well. So like in the back of my mind, I'm just like, this is gonna fall apart. You're just facing people who don't know what you're doing and auto wins. Like I don't know. I just don't know why there was so much self-doubt, but there kind of was. And yes, I was not feeling amazing. But yeah, the next round I went up against Palkia Dusk. I did luckily win the flip and get to go first, which sort of saved everything. And game 1 they like randomly benched an Ursaluna for like no reason at all. Like they benched like turn 3 of the game, and I'm not sure why. So I was able to just gust that up over and over again. Like they only play like 2 switch effects, or only 1 if I put down Genesect. So yeah, I was able to like repeatedly gust it up, spam mill with Chi-Yu. Eventually they just ran out of ways to move it. I didn't take any prizes, so they couldn't ever pop enough Dusknoirs to make it so they could actually swing with that Ursaluna. I did a pretty sick play where I like luckied back my own cape to put it on Chi-Yu so they couldn't go like 3 energy bear and one-shot me, which was kind of sick. But I actually won by milling them out that game. The second game, I went second, got board wiped turn 2, so it was over. Well, it should have been over pretty fast. My opponent was kind of trolling again. They like overextended their energies and like gave me a win con. They ended up getting like bailed out by a crazy Pokestop in the end game that gave them like Candy and Night Stretcher. But like I honestly should have scooted the game way earlier, but they were just kind of throwing, so I was like, I'm gonna stick around here even though I probably shouldn't, which almost kind of backfired because we had like 10 minutes left for game 3. So I offered the gentleman's here, like this late in the tournament. I don't really want to tie. I'm getting to go first, so I feel like I'm advantaged in this matchup. So we agreed to a board state gentleman's, and my opponent draws absolutely terribly. I managed to snipe triple Night Stretcher and Vacuum before they can really do anything at all. So by the time is called, we play our +3 turns. They've taken 0 prizes and are down Switch, Vacuum, and triple Night Stretcher. So yeah, they had no win condition. Like I could just retreat, and I managed to Erika's and snipe their Blood Moon, so I was able to gust that up as well. Like there was no way that they were winning that game. So I won it off the gentleman's, which yeah, I mean luckily my opponent didn't like back out or anything, so I guess shout out to them. But that was that was nice. Like, and that's also my first ever gentleman's at a regional, which is kind of interesting, but yeah, that was pretty sick. And then yeah, I was like up at like a pretty high table, round 6, got absolutely destroyed by Terrapagos. Went second game 1, never got a chance to play. They were also playing Spiritomb, so that was pretty bad. In game 2, I went first, whiffed turn 2 Pidgeot, got everything annihilated. They didn't miss anything at all, so really never felt like I had a chance in that set. They drew pretty perfectly, I drew pretty poorly. So yes, now we're at round 6, 4-2. Have to win out to make day 2, which I'm like not feeling good, because like I feel like all of my wins have been against extremely favorable matchups or my opponent throwing, and I've played against people who've like sort of known what to do and I've gotten destroyed. So I'm like not feeling good. I'm like, this is gonna, I came all this way just to lose again. I can't, like I'm just not feeling good at all. And then kind of a similar thing happens against Terrapagos. That next round, I was really not happy to see it, because I'm pretty sure I went second again. Got absolutely destroyed. So yeah, after dropping game 1 round 7, I'm like, well, the run's over. Feels bad, but yeah, I just should have played a different deck, right? Control was just not it. And then game 2, they did something really dumb, and they load up their bench with Fan Rotom, double Hoot Hoot, Pidgey. And they also fan called for an extra Hoot Hoot and did not bench it, so I air cut and bench locked them out of Terrapagos. And just sat there and milled until they conceded like 3 turns later. So I gave me like a little bit of a confidence boost. So I was like, okay, well, this isn't just totally over, but now I'm going second into Terrapagos game 3. This is gonna be pretty bad. And somehow I managed to not get board wiped. I don't remember. I think I was like caped Pidgey. I got double Pidgey, and for some random reason they chose to prime catcher my caped Pidgey instead of going for they prime catcher just single Pidgey without cape on it instead of going for Rotom when they had 7 on the bench. I got Candy Pidgeot. I started using like Blustery Winds, like snipe their Duskulls, like limit their bench. So I was able to kind of like prize trade with them, and then I eventually got down to where I had 2 prizes left with a heavily damaged Pidgeot, and they were at 3. And I didn't realize this in my mind. I'm like, okay, they kill my Pidgeot. I send a Blood Moon. I just need to find a Gust to Gust on their Blood Moon and win. But I totally overlooked Briar as a potential win con for them, because I was at 2, they were at 3. So all they had to do was just quick search for Briar and win the game. And yeah, these was just insane. They prize Briar. They Iona me to 1, or Iona me to 2, take the KO. So I draw the 2 cards. I just put them face down. I don't look at them. I send up the Ursaluna. I look at my 2 cards, and they're Pidgeot EX and Palpad. I need Gust to win the game, so I'm like, okay, this is it. End of the road. I top deck Lumineon for Arvin for counter catcher to win the game, which was pretty flippin' cool. I felt insanely lucky. That like should not have happened. I got extremely lucky to win that set, but it did give me a pretty big confidence boost. But then I was so excited, like an idiot, I left my deck at the table. So luckily, someone gave me a Blitzel card, and I was gonna go put it into my deck box, and I looked into my bag, and my deck was not in there. So I rushed back over the table, and luckily it was still there. So shout out to all the people at Louisville Regionals for not stealing my deck. That would have been tragic. But yeah, one more to go, and I felt sort of lucky to be there. Didn't help my like mental out of not having a ton of real games of Pokemon, because that was like always playing Control in online tournaments. Like, you may do really well, but like half the time people are just throwing, and it's like not like high quality games. And I was kind of feeling that same way today. I was like, my opponents do not know what's happening, or I'm just getting absurdly lucky. Like the actual chance that I had, like I'm not like I'm not like playing amazingly either. Like I just missed. They could have briared for game and got lucky that they prized it. So I mean, either way, we're 5-2. We're not complaining. We're headed into the last rounds. win it in time. My first ever last round win it in. Every other time I've day 2'd, I've locked up day 2 by round 8 in a 9-round tournament. So, strangely enough, I wasn't nervous though. Maybe that's because I felt like my run was so Mickey that like I just didn't care. Like I was just there and I was gonna just try the best that I could, and it didn't really matter. I felt like I was just sort of lucky to be in that spot. And yeah, my opponents flips over Raging Bolts, and I'm ecstatic. They're playing the Slitherwing and not the Sandy Shocks. So we get to work. Cape Mimikyu does some insane stuff. They eventually realize that their one Slitherwing is not getting through my legion of Mimikyus. So they start to try to do some stomp off strategy where they're just like, I'm just gonna keep milling the top card of my deck with the Slitherwing's first attack and not take prizes. So I just like set it Pidgeot at that point, because yeah, I mentioned earlier about how you kind of want to be careful timing Pidgeot in that matchup. And I just start going to work with like Aries and Zerosix and Chiyu Mills, because it's just so inefficient for them to like hard retreat the Slitherwing and then dump 5 energies on a Cape Chiyu. Yeah, it was yeah, it was just not worth it for them. So they would like pretty easily steamroll them. They weren't really in that game at all. And in game 2, I like Erica sniped their ninja pretty early in the game and just well locked it. They played, and I Genesect down. They played one cart, hook a KO. I did it again, and they scooped. So yeah, it was awesome. But so I lost 2 Winidins and a double. Double Silene heads. Oh, that's tragic. But yeah, what was kind of weird though is after game 2, the judges deck checked me and my opponents, and it was kind of strange to like, at least to me, that they were deck checking someone who was eliminated from the tournament. Like, what if my opponent would have had an illegal list or had marked cards? Like, I don't know what would have happened. Like they can't retroactively give him a game loss, so he's already eliminated. So it was strange, but yeah, I was kind of surprised, but they did tell me that my sleeves were too beat up and I needed to re-sleeve before day 2, which is what I expected. So I didn't bring an extra box of sleeves because I planned on just getting some from the vendors, and all the vendors only had Dragon Shields, which I'm Dragon Shields #1 hater now. I buy a box of Dragon Shields. I like looked over, they didn't have anything else. And I opened the box of the Dragon Shields, and they're just like, well, okay, that's not until later. I'm skipping steps in this story. But then shout out Duffy comes over and gives me some katanas from courtesy of a Blue Ditto, the goated sponsor. So I have katanas and Dragon Shields at this point, but I bought the Dragon Shields and I didn't use them in a while. So like I wanted just to kind of give them a go. And I opened the box of Dragon Shields, and several of the sleeves are bent. The corners are jank. Like, I just spent $13 on a pack of sleeves that I can't even use. So luckily I had those backup katanas, and they had like a new color. It was like kind of like a bluish green, kind of sick color. One of my favorites. But I was kind of mad that I just spent $13 on a box of sleeves that's just unusable. I know, like, day 2 of a tournament, I use that beat up box of sleeves. I'm getting deck checked. I'm getting a game loss or DQ'd or something, which very dumb. I'm not having that happen. So, oh, Dragon Shields used to be goated. Pre-COVID Dragon Shields were by far the best sleeve, but I don't know what happens, but they suck now. So yeah, shout out Duffy for getting me those katanas. I don't know what I would have done. I might have just bought another box of Dragon Shields, but luckily we didn't have to cross that bridge. So yeah, going into day 2 at 6-2, and I kind of saw the rumblings on Twitter the night before of 10 and 2 might not even make top 8. There's a chance that you could win all 4 of your rounds and not make it, which I just sort of brushed off because I was like, whatever, like there's always yapping on Twitter, like let's just see what happens. Like I'm gonna try to win all my games of Pokemon regardless. I'm just gonna lock in. It doesn't matter. So day 1 started by my opponent calling second and flipping over a Snorlax. The exact same thing happened in day 2. They played no Zerosix either, so they had even less of a win con than my round 1 opponent did. So we were able to... I won in like 10 minutes. They like... I started lucky looping game 1. Oddly enough, I priced double penny against Snorlax for the second time, which like doesn't matter, but it was just kind of weird that it happened twice. I sat there lucky looping. They scooped. Game 2, they played all their flutes, didn't bench lock me, and they just conceded. So, yeah, it was a 10-minute set. I think I might have the first one done in day 2. But yeah, that felt really good. And then I'm like, yeah, just 3 more in my own minds to get top 8s. And I sitting next to, I was like, since I got done early, I was able to like walk the tables and see what everyone was running. And there was so much Bolt and Stall and even Iron Thorns like directly around me. It was kind of insane. Like I was thinking like, okay, this is the run. Like I've had some jank finishes, not done as good as I hoped, but it was like, there's so many favorable matchups around me. Like I didn't see much Lugia. I didn't see much Zard. It was like, this is the tournament. Like this is the one. So then I see round 10 Grant Shen pop up on my Arcanine dashboard, and I knew he was on Drago because one of my locals hit him earlier in the tournament. But I was a little intimidated. Like G Shen's one of the goats. And kind of a funny little backstory was after I got absolutely demolished by this Terapagos in round 6, I was walking the tables and I like walked by absolutely like table 1, and like Caleb Gadamir's there playing Bolt against, I don't remember what he was up against, and like Ryan Antonucci standing there, and he's like, yo, what's up? He said he wanted to play Stall, but he couldn't get it to beat a good Drago player. So here I am in round 10 against a really good Drago player, and Nucci's to my direct left. So I look over at him and say, like, we're about to find out. And yeah, I was kind of excited and nervous, but it was Drago matchup I'm kind of shaky into, but which round is Jason just in? Round 10. One we're talking about right now. And game 1, I could absolutely, I go first. My hand is incredible. I own it into nothing. I end up losing the game by lost vacuuming off my own Hero Cape to knock out my own Rotom to go to game 2. So yeah, to not use Quick Search a single time that game, got absolutely rolled. Game 2, he opens Kiro, and I'm still never able to set up a, I think it would be easier if we just show off, G-Shen's list here. I was never able to set up a Pidgeot again game 2, because he's like, he told me he'd never played the matchup before, and he was just going full on max aggression. Like the 2-2 Noctowl like allows him to put a ton of pressure on me. Like I don't get much of a chance at all to just kind of sit there and stabilize. And yeah, I just got kind of lucky that he opened Kyurem. So like, despite me not really doing a whole lot, like I can, and this is where the double retreat lockers came in clutch, because I can have Mawa active locking Kyurem, and despite no Pidgey being on the board, I can have a backup retreat lock guy set up to just send up after my Mawile dies. So I'm able to like Gus up the Kyurem, because he also like, he has like switched to get out of the active spots. He then goes like boss KO on my Genesect in order to like prime catcher next turn. Um, so at that point, he's at like 3 and still has Prime and Switch left. So it seems pretty manageable for him. And then I realized something terrible. I priced double counter catcher. So I can't gust up his Kyurem again. So I am able to Eerie and snipe his Switch, but I have no way of gusting up the Kyurem. I have to take a turn off gusting the Kyurem. So he goes and takes 2 prizes off of something. I was able to just take 2 prizes off whatever I had active. So he goes down to 1, and yeah, it doesn't have any switch effects left. And then I'm able to Forest Palpad back in my stuff, Forest Seal for boss, gust up the Kyurem again, and his last prize was boss, so could not gust around my Mawile to break my retreat lock, which was kind of insane because I had like no energies or pennies in hand. So yeah, somehow managed to win game 2 once again, not using quick search a single time. So going into game 3, it's like kind of more of the same. Like his deck is just so aggressive, and he got to go first. Like, can hunt my Pidgeys off the board really aggressively. So once again, I do not quick search a single time. But he like opened with the Switch and had to like burn it early to like research and get going. So, and then of course he like, sort of has to bench Noctowl for his deck to work. Like, since he plays no Mew, he can't go like the thin board of like Drago, Ogerpon, Mew to like get through all my Mimikyus. Like, he has to just go fast and just sort of hope to beat me off the board. It's also, there's like no jamming in this list, which I sort of knew by game 3. So like if I could destabilize and can just use Charm Ursa, he really has no response to that either. So he just has to win by beating me off the board, which means like he's going to bench liabilities. So I mean, yeah, it's a similar story to game 2. I can't set up it all, but I managed to just kind of piece together what I have. I like Mawile, gust up Noctowl, retreat lock hits. Then he goes for the Legacy Star, gets back Prime, Switch. But yeah, I can Eerie away the Switch again, and retreat lock. So his only hope left is to like spend Prime at like his only hope left is to Iona me, take knockout, and basically hope that I miss. And before the Iono, my hand was pretty bad. But he Ionos me into double Penny, double counter catcher, and an energy. So I can gust the Squawk and retreat lock it basically indefinitely. And I mean, shout out to Grant. He could have played out for the tie there. We had like 5 minutes left. But he didn't. Scooped to me once he had no win con. So that was pretty sick. Shout out Grants. Was a pretty chill opponent too. The games were pretty funny, but yeah, I felt pretty, I don't know. Yeah, the feeling was kind of surreal. Like, I managed to win against Drago, a matchup that's kind of terrifying, without quick searching a single time. Which was kind of, yeah, which was pretty incredible. Did I have fun? No, I didn't have any fun at all. So I like now I had like the confidence boost after the round 9 Snorlax. My confidence was off the charts. I was like so locked in right now. I was feeling incredible. Like this is the run. There's nothing stopping me now. Like, let's get this 10-2. Super cool meeting. You did too. Shane last year and didn't go your way after round 11. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, I'm feeling unstoppable. And then I faced Dragapult Dusknoir, which is a matchup I'm not like thrilled to see, but they go first and bench Rotom right away. So it's like, okay, this is pretty free. As long as my deck works halfway decent, I can retreat lock their Um, they Rotom, and they really can't play the game at all. The sad part is I prize my Forest Seal Stone, so I can't turn 2 set of Pidgeots. I have to like Arven and then charge, and then I get my whole hand I own it away. So I'm never able to set up Pidgeots, so I'm never able to piece together that retreat lock line. So I end up losing, which was really frustrating. That Iono absolutely cooked me, and then he has some crazy dusk plays that just sort of wiped my board, so was a little frustrated about that. Game 2, he opens with triple Buddy Poffin. And then the exact same story for me, where like I have a solid hands. Like normally turn 2, we can Arven for the Candy Forest for the Pidgeots, and if I can like set up halfway decent, this matchup's like okay. It's also I managed to like Fang Snipe. I think like Night Stretcher or something. Like I had like a really good Fang Snipe. But yeah, I priced for a Seal Stone, so I can't get Pidgeot going. I get Iono'd, and literally it's like an exact repeat of game 1. I'm getting my board kind of destroyed. I do manage to somehow piece together like a Pidgeot, but by that point he's like already at 3, and my board's kind of wrecked. So really my only line left is to like kind of like what happened in round 3 to like piece together some sort of Iono plus Ursa play, because his board wasn't like super impressive because he had popped a couple Dusks and stuff. But I whiffed energy off the Ursa, so I pretty much lost in the spot, because and then he also drew like Dracloak and Iono off my Iono, so I didn't have much of anything, which was really frustrating. Like my deck just did not cooperate at all. My opponent drew super hot. So I don't think there's anything I could have done differently. Like I know in this loss versus Polt, it should have been a win. But I played very poorly game 3. But like these 2 losses just felt totally uncontrollable. Like my deck did not work very well. My opponents didn't miss anything at all. So felt kind of hopeless. So yeah, this tournament structure just feels so brutal. Cause like after you lose 1 game, you're like out of everything. Like you already sort of knew that like 10-2 couldn't make top 8, but like you lose 1 time from 6-2 and you can't even cash anymore. So like I don't know, that last round I was just kind of going through the motions. I wasn't really in it anymore. Like I was double seal to play. I mean, maybe. It was pretty frustrating to just get bodied that way. I definitely I definitely win game 1 if I set up Pidgeot at all. No, I think like I don't think I threw round 11. My deck just did not work at all, and my opponent drew the nuts. Like I feel bad about losing round 3, because like that's a good matchup that I just threw. I don't really have any like regrets about what happened in round 11, because I feel like I played to the best of my ability. I just did not do very much at all, which was frustrating. We're not playing Deca. No, I don't feel like playing Mickey tonight. So it was kind of like a frustrating way for like me to be eliminated from like contention when I really was never in it at all, because like the way the structure works. But yeah, that kind of sucked. When going into round 12, I was like super checked out. Like I didn't even really care, because it's like a win in you can't even cash from, what was that, 8-3. So I wasn't really focused. I was kind of fried. I played terrible both those games. Like up against a really weird Polt Pidgeot list. I hit this person on the ladder a couple days before the tournament, and I remember them only playing like just the 1 Turos. So just 1 switch, I believe. So I managed to like snipe their switch super early and go for a treat lock on Luminion. Turns out, like earlier in the game, they like Pidgeot, they like 200 my Pidgeot, but I didn't put cape on it for some reason. And I was like retreat locking their Luminion. I just sort of expected the game to be over. Then they hit me with the Turu up Luminion, put down Temple of Sinnoh, Alakazam 20 over to my Pidgeot, Dragapult Snipe KO Pidge. And they also ultra away Luminion, so I couldn't Erika's for game either. So yeah, I was basically left without a play and was cooked. In game 2, I should have won 100%. I could have retreat locked them. I mean, it technically didn't matter because I priced double Pal Pad, so I would have had less cards left than my opponents. But I just sort of assumed that they would have probably conceded if I would have retreat locked them and not played it out. So the matchup does seem kind of good for them with the way their list is built. But I just totally punted the end game. Like I could have like pennied up my fish and set up like a 100% win, like 100% chance to win the game on the next turn. I just like didn't for some reason. So yeah, it was like kind of a frustrating way for the tournament to end, but I just like didn't really care. Like it was just this like whole tournament structure just feels kind of bad vibes. Like that's sort of the best description I have of it. Like it just doesn't feel, and I don't know, maybe it's just personal experience, just anecdotal, but like it just feels kind of brutal. But it's just like, I think it's something that I need to work on too as a player. Like I don't think I've ever won the last round of a day 2. I was in NASC I lost, at Orlando I lost my last round, and at Louisville I lost my last round. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I need to be better at closing out days. That's something I need to work on. But yeah, just the whole structure feels really bad vibes. It's I'm just not a fan of it. And then like turns out 10-2 had no shot in the first place. Like it was a clean bubble or a clean cut of 10-1-1s. So that just kind of added insult to injury. Like a lot of people won all of their, a handful of people won all their day 2 rounds and did not even like, Szymanski won all 4 of his day 2 rounds and got 18th place, which just feels terrible. Like, I mean, personally, I'm not like super upset by it because like I can't just say like, man, I like if this structure wasn't so gosh darn bad, I would have made cut. Like if I would have played better, I probably would have been 10-2. But like, I mean, I could have played better. So like, who cares? I should have just locked in a bend better. What's kind of annoying is like so many people like came into day 2 with no shot of top cut, which is why a lot of people are still playing it in day 2. Like I know a lot of people, there's a lot of discourse on Twitter about it. But like, I mean, yeah, sure. A lot of people could have just played better and won more games. Yes, that is fair. But also like, why is there even like, why are we even having 6-2s in day 2 if there's no chance of getting top 8s? That's kind of why day 2 exists, right? Like there's not really a point in playing out like more rounds of Pokemon if you're not in contention. I mean, sure, you could, but like, I mean, if we're gonna let 6 and 2s into day 2 that have no shot, then why aren't we letting 5-3s play more Pokemon? Like, why is the line drawn at just 6-2s? So that just felt really bad vibes. Like the stream game, if they had tied, there would have been like what, like 18 people in Top Cut, which would like, it's so weird that would like those were the 2 different realities. Like there's a clean cut or like a massive ASIM bracket. So that it was just all around an incredibly bizarre tournament. Like there should have been a 9th Swiss round day 1. That would have, I think, helped a lot. Like then there wouldn't have been quite as absurd of a bubble and stuff. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this tournament structure. Like, it feels kind of insane that you can go from playing a top 8 win it in to also like making like top 64. And then there's like that was like, sort of like the bad vibes feel from like Worlds and Baltimore. And now there's this kind of crazy bubble thing. It's just, it feels like a mess. I don't think I've heard anyone have like a positive take on this whole thing. Like, everyone seems to dislike this tournament structure. Yeah, it just feels bad. Like, I don't like, we're just playing less Pokemon. We're just playing less rounds of Pokemon. It's like, not like, I mean, I think everyone agrees that bubbling sucks. Like, asymmetrical cut, getting rid of bubbles, like that's nice, but like, at the sacrifice for like sacrificing more rounds of Pokemon. Like, this tournament had 12 rounds. The same tournament structure had 15 rounds last season. It just doesn't feel right. Like, there's always going to be, no matter the system, someone who gets left out. Like, there's going to be someone who bubbles, or some sort of bad, frustrating, disappointing thing that happens. There's no way that they can make everybody happy, but I don't think anybody is happy right now. And yeah, honestly, I would be kind of fine if they just went back to the structure from last season and cut like the 6th day 2 round, or just drop to day 2 round and added ASIM. I think that's fine. Because like, as bad as it felt to go into day 2's last season at 6-2-1, like, you had to win out to make top cuts. At least you had a shot at making cut. Like, I'm sure a lot of tournaments are going to be a similar size to Louisville this season, and for it to be like a similar tournament, 6-2, having no shots, feels really, really bad. So I hope that they do something. Like, I think adding a 9 Swiss round day 1 would be an easy fix. Yeah, that was kind of like the big headline thing from the weekend that got a lot of people upset. And yeah, it is kind of frustrating that happened. And I hope that they do something and don't wait until next season to do something, because we're only on events like regional number like 4 or something, if we count like everywhere, and we've already had a lot of upset people, and we have a whole year of this. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. The X2 had a better shot in the 9 round only day 1 structure. I mean, you had a chance of making top 8 at least if you won out. I don't know if anyone in Baltimore went from 7-2 to top cut, but I know they at least had a shot. It's not like they could win out and then make top 32 like what happened in a Louisville. I top 128 merchant. That's a rude. Oh, that Yapix made me thirsty, bruh. Did you think about judging slow play at regionals? Yeah, I didn't have any issues with it this past weekend. In fact, I feel like my opponents were really, really nice. Like, I had only gentlemen's I did got honored. My I had someone scoop to me, but like based off of board state, like all my opponents felt pretty good. And I also, for the first time ever, I was just sitting playing my game, minding my own business, and the judge gives like the person sitting next to me a slow play warning, without being called over at all, which was kind of I'd never seen that happen before. Like, usually the judges are kind of just like minding their own business, just sort of like waiting to get called, but the judge was actually like focusing on the game and gave someone a unrequested slow play warning, which was kind of interesting. Like, expect the top 8 this season? Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get there. Like, I just need to, like, my takeaway from this tournament, like, I had a couple, I had several really lucky breaks, like, especially versus that second Terapagos, even versus Grant in round 10, like, he prized, Boss was his last prize back-to-back games, which could have made things end up a lot differently. So I feel like this, like, assuming like someone plays this tournament back at 100% efficiency, I think the ceiling would have been 10-2. Like, assuming, like, they would have won round 3 and they would have won round 12. So I know I need to, I don't want to just be like, ah, man, I'm so unlucky, Chad. I lost 2 rounds, never really had a shot. Like, I had 2 rounds that probably should have been losses because I got kind of lucky. So it all just kind of balances out. Like, I should have just locked in those other rounds, got those dubs. So I feel like if I'm that close to being 10-2, like, it's that within reach. I feel like top 8 is possible. I just gotta keep working on it. It's just I'm not quite at the level I need to be yet. And yeah, I don't think Dragon Ball's actually that bad of a matchup for this deck. I just sold versus 2 of them and double bricked versus 1. My self-awareness is refreshing. Bro, one of my biggest pet peeves with Pokemon TCG players is the constant blaming of luck. Like, yes, luck is a decent portion of this game, but like, through this many rounds, it balances itself out most of the time. Like, of course you're gonna lose games to variance, and in some tournament runs you're gonna have some variance swings in dramatic ways, sometimes good and sometimes bad. I heard someone tell me over the weekend that, like, they didn't make day 2 and they were just like, oh yeah, I went 5-3 or whatever. Like, I'm so happy with it though. I only misplayed 1 time. I just got really unlucky. And it's just like, how? Like, I went 10, I won 8 rounds of Pokemon. And I could probably point out misplays I made in like every single round that I won. Like, I did something dumb and I maybe didn't get punished for it, or I scuffed a game that could have been a cleaner win. So like, there's no way, I do not believe you tell me in 8 rounds of Pokemon you only misplayed 1 time, and the whole reason you're not in day 2 is because you had really bad luck. Like, I do not believe that. Was it you who said that? No, it was somebody else. Like, yeah, and that's like one thing that I think has really helped me improve as a player, is realizing that I screw up, and I screw up a lot. But like, if I'm conscious of the mistakes that I'm making, I can fix them. And I think the worst thing that, like, for you as a player is you're constantly misplaying and you don't realize it. So you're like not trying to fix the problem. You're just like, well, unlucky, go next. Like, and that's not gonna help you. You're just gonna keep going 5-3 over and over again, and you're not gonna actually get better. Like, you may eventually like have the run where like the matchups line up right and you get there, but like, you're not gonna consistently perform. So yeah, I always try to be really conscious of that. Like I mentioned earlier, like after my games that I lose, I like to sit there at the table and just like think about what I could have done differently. Like play it back in my head and just sort of see where things could have gone, what different plays I could have made, and how like that would have done or made the game potentially go differently. And most of the time you can like pick out little moments, even if it's something that like really subtle, that you could have done differently, that like could have given you a higher percent chance of winning the game. And it's not always like 100% guarantee I could have won the game if I would have done this, but you could have given yourself a chance to. And I mean, that's really all you can ask for. Like, it's a game of percentages. So if like you're not doing everything you can to give yourself the highest percentage chance of winning, you really can't say you're absurdly unlucky. So yeah, I don't really know where I'm trying to go with this. I just stop stop blaming luck. I get the chili roll concert safely, or not safely on Saturday. No, I didn't go. I was chilling. I did not not did not have that in the in the plans for the weekends. So I was just happy to be there and don't think that deep. I mean, if you're there to just have a good time and you do not care about your record, that is completely different than someone who's there with the intent of doing as good as they possibly can. And like, yeah, if you're just in there to have a good time and you don't care that you won or lost or how you won or lost, then that's a completely different mindset. Like, I'm coming from the point of view where I am trying to win every game Pokemon that I possibly can. I'm trying to play as efficiently as I possibly can. I want to win the whole gosh darn tournament. So like that's where my preparation and thought process comes from. But yeah, if you're just a casual player who doesn't really mind about which way the tournament goes, then you can blame luck all you want. I don't mind. It's just the people who complain that they don't get the results that they want, but also are doing things that aren't are kind of counterproductive with their growth as a player. I think Stunfisk would have been useful in this one. I don't think so. Like I had lines to win versus this Dragapult. I had lines to win versus this Dragapult. I was drawing so bad versus this Dragapult that I don't think it would have mattered. And kind of the same basic vibe. Like I didn't draw very well. Got board wiped by that Terrapagos. So I don't think it would help me. I don't regret. I guess it would have made this Palkia win easier. And may have helped versus these, or it definitely would have helped versus specifically this Dragapult, but it's not like I missed it and I felt like, dang, if I would have had the Stunfisk, I would have won this amount of games. Like it's not something I was like tracking, like how many times I prized one Rotom. But I mean, Rotom was always in my deck, which made my starts a lot more consistent. And Erica's won me like 2 or 3 games. So I'm glad I didn't play it. I wanted to. It would have been really funny. It would have been really cool. But in the end, I'm glad I didn't play it. Flyplay versus Palkia, the matchup is confusing. They just play like a limited amount of gusts. So usually like Mimikyu is really annoying for them to get through. And for their deck to function, they almost always have to bench stuff like Mew or Radiant Greninja, like stuff that can get stuck that we can trap, and they only play 1 Switch and 1 Prime as outs. So Retreat Lock's usually gonna be the win con with kind of Mimikyu as like a side portion. Just like forces more resources out of them basically. Like we still have like the resource denial of Luxray and potentially Chi-Yu. Like I beat this Palkia by trapping them games 2 and 3. Is drawing bad and bad luck same thing? Yes and no. I'm mainly like a lot of like you can have bad hands that are still winnable games. Like bad luck, I would say, is like facing a really low percentage matchup that your deck is not very good into, or I mean it could still be bad draws. Like you could have done nothing differently to play your hands like any other way. You played your cards to maximum efficiency but still lost because your hand was just bad. Like that could be true. That would be bad luck. And also, I guess like bad luck could be like, yeah, you have 9 cards in deck and 2 Sodas in deck, and you play a Pokegear and whiff. Like that would be really bad luck. Like in those cases, it would be okay to be like, well, I just got unlucky. Like like at NAIC, I prized both my double turbo energies twice. like statistically it shouldn't happen a single time throughout the course of the tournament. It happened twice. Like that was insanely bad luck, and cost me 2 games throughout the whole tournament. But like, sure, I had some slow draws versus this Polt in round 12, but like I could have played better and made it a win. So I can't just say like, well, I'm unlucky. I had some poor hands. Like I didn't do everything in my powers to give myself the highest chance to win. So I feel like I lose my right to complain about my luck being bad. It's nice to meet you this weekend. I feel like this weekend I had like the most people walk up, say hi, say they watch the streams. It's honestly like pretty cool. Like I mean, I guess the channel's grown so much. It's awesome to hear and see that people get value out of the content. Like that's what it's here for, and I'm really happy to hear that that people like this stuff. It's really awesome. So what's it, minimize bad luck? Makes skill points overcome bad luck more times than not. Yeah. Like there is an inherent luck element to the game that is you never can fully get rid of. No matter how efficiently you play the game, you are just going to lose to bad luck sometimes. But you have to reduce that element as much as you possibly can by playing efficiently. So like that's what I meant by like saying my ceiling this tournament in these 12 rounds was 10-2. Like if I would have played better, I could have won 2 of my rounds. But with the hands that I got, I do not think it's possible that I could have won round 6 and round 11. But had I played better on 3 and round 12, should have been wins. You signed your friend's Pidgeot and he would not. That was funny. I never like signed cards like that until this weekend, but I signed like a couple Pidgeots. It's kind of funny. Gonna need some coaching before Gdansk. All right, I got you. So yeah, it was an interesting tournament to say the least. But I feel like Control ended up being a pretty solid play. Like, shout out to Goat King Heracross playing the same 59 as me and got top 32. Was on the win it into top 8. And unfortunately ran into Michael Davidson Spiritomb, so got kind of rolled. But sick to see him go on such a deep run with like the same list. Like once you got to the top tables, they were like all Bolt and a lot of Stall. So like the meta was so, and there's even like some Thorns too. The meta was so advantageous for Stall or for Control. So it was kind of sad to see them like not convert, but yeah. The like rounds that I hit, that round 11 versus Polt, where I just bricked my, yes, I bricked extremely hard. I was sitting next to me was like Control versus Bolt, and then Bolt versus Thorns, and I'm sitting here up against Polt Noir, and I'm like, and then a couple tables down from me was like another Stall playing, and I'm just like, dang man, couldn't piece it together. But yeah, I think it ended up being a pretty good play. Just didn't end up working out for people that played the deck. Heracross played Artisan, I played Lost Back. Knowing the meta for this tournament, I think I still would have ran back Control, honestly. It's the deck I play most efficiently. And it ended up being a pretty solid call for what was at top tables. weren't a whole lot of them, and we ended up getting caught up with some not great circumstances, but I think it was still a good call for the tournament. Louisville was brutal as far as variance goes. X2 wasn't even good enough for a top cut. Yeah, that whole thing is kind of weird because everyone was like gentleman'sing under the thought process, like, well, if I tie, that's as good as a loss. So like even if I lose a gentleman's, that's still fine. But like now you like in this tournament, it would have been so much better to go in as 6-1-1 versus 6-2. So now you have the whole dynamic of like, well, do I gentlemen's or do I not gentlemen's? Like, is tying really that bad compared to losing? And I mean, you still should try to win games, but like, if it ends up in a tie, is like, are you upset about that? All right, I've been requested a lot. Dylan Gunn's list. Let's take a look. Okay. I've been the people are screaming at me to look at Dylan's list, so I will do it. Yes, it's a Bouffalance control Ank deck, I guess, with the Terapagos, the Blood Moon. I mean, pretty similar. I mean, yeah, not that much different than what I was playing, I guess. I'm kind of wondering where the Terapagos like really helps you. So like the thing I kind of don't like about Terapagos is like, sure, you can tank with it, just like does no damage. I think having like a super tanky Boof or super tanky Ursa is pretty nice. And like, I guess maybe you just don't care. You're just hitting like 130 or whatever, and you just don't die, so you don't mind. No, Jenny's crazy. I mean, have been cut somewhere. Yeah, I'm not. I think like some of the cards in here are kind of goofy. Like, I'm not a big fan of like City or Sisters, the third Pal Pad. Like a lot of the cards, or yeah, a handful of cards I think you would swap out, but or Cornerstone. But yeah, it's a really cool list, a cool idea. It's one I hadn't, I guess, played with at all, but I probably will mess around with it some. Looks pretty sick. One of the locals got 47 with Pidgeot control. Oh yeah, it's like a similar. I did actually sit next to Ethan one round. Yeah, it's a similar thing to what Dylan was playing. Yeah, cause I remember really wanting to hit Ethan because I just like sit there and spam Chi-Yu and there's like nothing he can do about it. That's like what I wanted to yeah. That was that round I hit the Polts. I'm sitting next to Ethan. I'm like, dang, I should be so free, and here I am sitting across from a Dragapult. Yeah, I mean, Lax seems interesting. I mean, the Bouffalance is synergistic with it, but I mean, yeah, it's Snorlax, so Snorlax is kind of stinky. Portland gang, all of Oregon is just in chat right now. I'm still not a fan of a Snorlax. I never will be a big fan of Lax, but it did better than me. Sound face emoji. Bro, 2 gears, 1 Ultra Ball. Ain't no way, bro. I was not setting up with 4 Ultras in Lumi, and you're telling me 1 Rotom, 2 gears, 1 Ultra. That was good enough for you. I can't. 144th deck. Man, y'all are making me. Oh, this thing. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Cornerstone Noivern with Mawile and Glamora for some reason. I don't know why we're playing these. I guess Glamora for the Terapagos matchup. I have no clue why Mawile's here. I don't know if anyone can enlighten me on that. Over to the Feather Balls. I don't know. What do you mean about Feather Balls? That card sucks. Maybe we'd run a single Feather Ball and I'll just play an Ultra Ball, please. Yeah, it's definitely this thing for sure. I don't know why. I could have got Fisk Eliminals page. I don't think I would have made day 2. If I like play Fisk and run my 8 matches back, I lose this Palkia Dusknoir. And my day is probably cooked after that, so yeah. No. I don't even really understand the point of the Mawile. I guess the Glamora helps us against Terapagos. Yeah, still seems kind of goofy. I don't know. But I mean, props to them. Getting day 2 with such a wacky deck is always funny. Yeah, man, I seen all these stalls to start off the day, and they ended up like kind of getting cooked. The same with Thorns, like Thorns, there's quite a few of them in day 2, but they all were bunched at the bottom. Like the highest one got top 64, which is kind of surprising to me. I was like top 10 tables in round 11, and I was sitting next to a Thorns. But they must have lost the last 2 rounds as well. Very innovative. What an innovative take. Shout out Rahul, the goats. I talk about what went wrong in my Pult matchups. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit earlier. Basically, I in this one, like, I won game 1, I bricked game 2, and game 3 I made a pretty egregious misplay when I had game guaranteed on board. Against the other Dragon Pult, I drew terrible, which against Pult Pidgeot, Pult Dusknoir is probably the deck that's like most punishing to draw slow into, because they can just annihilate your entire board. So, and then the other one I always just checked out, played trash in both games. So I know the 0-3 versus Pidgey or versus Pult looked really bad, and I've gotten quite a few people saying like, yo, the plunge just sucks then. But no, I realistically should have been 2-1 versus Pult on the weekend. I just happened to play my 2 worst games of Pokemon on the weekend versus Dragapult. So it's fine. It's not a bad matchup. I just played pretty dumb. That is honestly facts though. I mean, a lot of people are just not that good against control. I'm taking also 3 bolts. I know I'm washed. It surprised me how many people told me I'd never seen or played against this deck before. And I know Pidgeot control isn't like ultra mainstream, but still. Like round 8, win it in. My opponent said he'd never played against control before as Raging Bull, had no clue what to do. Or even like round 10 against Grant, he said he'd never played against Pidgeot control before. Like, surprised me. So yeah, it's strange. Because that's also like kind of weird. Like when you're picking your deck, you're reevaluating your run, and you're like, dang, I played against a lot of good matchups. I played against a lot of opponents who didn't play the match role their best. Like, where am I at as a player if most of these rounds that I won are just throws? But like I guess you just can't. You're like, people are gonna misplay versus control probably more so than any other deck, and you have the capacity to punish mistakes like more so than any other deck. So it's a really hard thing to judge. Like, obviously you don't want to depend on your opponent misplaying as like a way of winning games, but it's just gonna happen. That's why I think, like, if you are an efficient control player, it's like one of the easiest decks to day 2 with, just because you are going to get, like, no matter how disgusting your opponent's list is, like how unfavored it is, like, you can just sometimes win games because your opponent doesn't know what they're doing at all. Like, I've had games like at NAIC, my opponent was playing Bolt with Cornerstone Ogerpon, Double Switch, Enhanced Hammer, and Double Vacuum. And I won 2-0 because I just played the match terrible. And it's like, yeah, like, I think if you're just gonna sit down and main a deck with and you just like want to hit your first day 2, control is probably the best choice. It's never has the easiest time going deep into tournaments. Kind of because of that, like, skill floor rising a lot, but you're still just gonna win so many games because your opponents do not know what's happening. I did not have to ask any of my opponents to play faster, but also there were quite a few one-sided games of Pokemon. Have I considered winning a regional yet? I have, but haven't been quite able to put it all together yet, but it's something I have thought about. I have wondered if that is a potential good choice. So no ties is goated. I mean, Grant could have tied with me if he wanted to, but bro's like chill and scoops, so shout out Grant. And this game 3 was a gentleman's. The other, and all the other ones finished. 1 games in this far, no way. Yo, real. Locked aren't scooping. I feel like at regionals that's like so much less of an issue because like had like quite a few early scoops when your opponent doesn't know what's going on or knows that they're just cooked and just like packs it up because they want plenty of time for a game 3. And also like I play really fast, so the average game time is probably a lot lower for me than it is for most people. But like I had I guess this Raging Bull was an example where I had them pretty much locked out of the game, but we were like cutting it close to time. So I still need to like do some stuff, but like basically the gist was like I just needed to keep milling with Chi-Yu, and they had pretty much no outs. So like if I was quick searching for a card, I would wait to shuffle my deck until during my opponent's turn. I'd be like draw, quick search, play my cards, do my attack, shuffle during my opponent's turn, just like play as efficiently as possible and not waste time on my turn doing something that's like not actually taking actions. So like you can I guess do little things like that, like you know your opponent's locked out of the game, just like sit there and sob. Just don't do anything else. Like don't waste time doing things that aren't advancing the board state. Just draw, sob, draw, sob, draw, sob. It's fine. How do you go with John with control? Because everyone is always scared. So I only offered it once, and my opponent my opponent was understanding that I could not do prize cards. It was the Palkia Dusnor game, which I mean, yeah, I can't do prize cards. I'm never gonna be able to do prize cards. So yeah, we agreed before the game board state, and we'd figure it out. And if there wasn't a clear winner, a tie would be fun. And luckily, I was very, very far ahead. Like I got rid of 3 9 stretchers, switch, vac, and yeah, all those cards. So, and they'd taken 0 prizes, so there was no way that they were winning the game. It just so it was incredibly clear that like their only out to getting out of retreat lock on the Ursaluna was double pop Dusk into my Genesect, then guess up something, but they'd be out of Dusks after that, so they couldn't take their last prize. Or yeah, they couldn't actually like KO my Pidgeot, so they can't KO Pidgeot and can't remove my engine, and they really can't win the game. So yeah, so I'm sure it works. It's a little easier for me to do it because like my opponents probably feel like I'm someone that they can trust. And if it's like just some like random person they don't know, they might be a little more reluctant. Like they know I have a reputation to keep. I'm not going to screw them over. They probably, I at least hope that they think that. So it's probably easier for me to make gentlemen's than it would just be, I guess, for the other average control player. But I could see it's like it's kind of hard to explain to your opponent. Like, yeah, you may have more or less prize cards remaining. You may have 1 prize card left, but you can not physically take your last prize card, so I'm going to win this game. Which is, yeah, kind of hard. So yeah, just try to play efficiently, like know your lines, know the card counts you're playing around, so like you can tell when the game is over and you're not wasting time playing, making unnecessary actions, drawing out the game. And yeah, just play efficiently, basically. Did I talk about it before the match? I don't like to, because my plan going into these matches is just to win both games. I don't want to even worry about it, because I just want to win both games of Pokemon. So I don't like to bring it up beforehand, because also, like, if we bring it up before the game even starts, and I say I can't do prize cards, I only can do board state, that makes, this is basically a dead giveaway. I'm playing Solar Control, and it could make my opponent play differently. Like, if I open Ursaluna against you, you're going first, like your assumption would be, okay, this is insert Dusknoir deck here. But wait, they can't do prizes, so it has to be control. I'm gonna play differently. So like there's that aspect to it. And also like if there's a gentleman's in place and like your opponent wins a game, like they're incentivized to slow play because they like agreed to a gentleman's, so they want to play as little Pokemon after that as possible. Like especially because they know like if it does spill over to a game 3, my deck takes a while to develop. So like even like a short game 3, the board state win condition is probably always gonna favor them. So I only like to offer it in like a game 3 if like in a game 3 situation, if there's like no extra nonsense that happens. But of course the goal is always to win both games, so we don't have to worry about it. So jumping is after game 2 before game 3. Yeah, exactly. Like game 3, not too much time left. Don't want to tie. And only do board state. You cannot do prize cards with this deck. I mean, yeah, just I did know someone last season who did a prize cards gentleman's, and I win it as control, and of course lost. So you just can't do that. Yeah. Definitely not bad luck. Yeah, I feel like leak what you're playing, and then they like play differently. Yeah. Because I think that this opponent did bring it up too before game 1. I was like, we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. Also, I'm not sure how much it matters because probably most people know I'm playing control anyway, but I guess just for all you out there who aren't smart control players, be a little careful about it. But I'd say overall, this was a strange tournament. I think they were left with a lot of unhappy people who were unsatisfied with how things went. Really, I mean, I'm a little disappointed. I know I could have played better and I could have done better. And it is kind of a frustrating feeling to know that you were capable of doing better, but you didn't. Like I can live with like bad luck happening. Like if I did everything in my power to give myself the highest probability to win and still lost, like I can't really be upset about that. But it's just those times where you didn't do everything that kind of those are the worst. And that's like kind of like the feeling that I'm left with, like especially with like the way the day ended. It's like I know I'm capable of more than top 128. Like that's what I feel like I've been kind of stuck at here my last few majors. I'm happy to make day 2 in this new structure. It feels harder for sure than last season, but still a lot to improve on, still a lot to get better at, which I guess is I mean, someone asked earlier in the stream, like, is my goal to qualify for Worlds, or I guess what am I trying to accomplish this season? I just want to keep getting better at the game. Like, if that leads to Worlds, that leads to regional top 8s, whatever. I just want to keep getting better at the game, and see where that takes me. I'm not like, I guess I don't have like a goalpost in mind, but I know I can be better, so just gotta keep working on it. Have we answered this? Any game plan as Pidgeot chains? Maybe it's like Turbo Moon. You can just go like Mist Pidgeot and Mist Ursaluna, and I kind of can't take prizes. You can just like Ursa sweep it with a Mist Energy on it. Then I get the TLDR on the Pult matchup. The Pult matchup is not bad. I just played very, very badly against two of them, and then bricked versus the other one. Prize double force right force heals in both games. Wasn't really able to set up. So whole matchup was not bad. I just happened to play my worst Pokemon of the entire tournament against it, so it's a fine matchup. I was to sustain myself throughout the tournament, like food. I mean, I felt like I was able to, but a trend I've noticed with myself is like I just lose a lot of games of Pokemon towards the end of the day. I don't know what that is. Like, I don't feel like I'm like hungry or like I'm thirsty or like whatever. Something needs to change though. I need to get better at closing out days. Do I have any gold games to play each day to prep for the regional? Not like a goal, like I guess like goal each day. I just try. I just play as much as I can squeeze in here or there. I think like my prep moving forward needs to be play more ladder, because I like one thing I have sort of noticed is like tournaments aren't. I mean, yeah, a lot of my like games of Pokemon are spent playing in tournaments, because like streaming is a lot of my Pokemon time, and tournaments are fine, but the average quality of opponent isn't always the best, and also like time spent versus games of Pokemon played is not really that high. It's like not a great ratio. So I want to play more ladder, because like what's also kind of interesting is like you run into other people who are tournament grinding, so you can like kind of get a little preview on what your potential opponents are playing. Like I actually played against my round 12 opponent on ladder before, a couple days before Louisville, and also like I hit Caleb Rogerson on the ladder, so I knew their group was on Lost Box, or I at least like knew that was something that they were considering, because I hit them on ladder. So you get higher quality games, you get to play more games, and you can sometimes get a little bit of a sneak preview on what the competition is cooking up. 8-hour poke stream with no food. I know it was them. Because I know they're like account names from either online tournaments or like literally the live name of my round 12 opponent is like the same as their IRL name. So like, and they both have to be playing Pidgeot, so I don't think it's a coincidence. Would prep be better to play a bunch of X deck one day than Y deck the next day? I mean, that's fine, I think. Just make sure, I think in any prep you do, you want to be playing the highest quality games as possible, and sometimes it's hard to do that. Like tournaments are kind of unpredictable quality. Ladder isn't always the most reliable quality. Don't always have like a bunch of friends that you can play with at all times. Playing versus yourself is great and all, but if you're not playing one side optimally, it's very bad practice. It's just as inefficient as a tournament or ladder. So no matter how you choose to practice, I guess just try to do it efficiently and try to get the highest quality games you possibly can. And I think for a lot of people, that is playing a lot of ladder. I think like if you are well connected and you have like a circle of really good players, then playing against each other would be better. But most people aren't, myself included. So just gotta play a lot of ladder. But then like if you like play a lot of ladder and then like you keep that data and sort of use that to build your deck, and like maybe like off playing the ladder you face a lot of Terrapagos, and the matchup you like struggle into, but and you know you're gonna face some for that regional you're prepping for. So like you'd want to like target more games against Terrapagos, because that's a matchup you want to feel more confident into. And then at that point you could like find someone and play some versus Terrapagos. But you can just sort of use ladder, use like the efficient, higher quality games of ladder to kind of like form a baseline and fill in the gaps with like specific dedicated testing, like Henry Chow's method. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm gonna start doing moving forward. Yeah, Lost Tina did make day 2. There's no PokeShark wins. They did let a Lost Tina in. It's, I mean, yeah, it's just kind of it's just Lost Tina. 2 road and 2 forests. I mean, nah, it's fine. I mean, if you had unlimited space, second forest would be a card you would play, but you're only gonna not have it 1 out of 10 times, and then that 1 in 10 game also has to be a game where you don't open like a second or one of the setup pieces. So normally it's okay, you can live with that, but it just happened to be this weekend that the games I prized forest, I really needed forest. Reggie's almost made day 2, but Ethan oh man, I thought someone said that Reggie's did make day 2, but I was misinformed. Next card, not forest seal. I don't know, I really thought about it. What would it be? I don't know. By something, it's not a consistency card. Like, the deck wins most games it sets up. 5 Rotom. Probably not that, but I just think playing a consistent deck is pretty good. And the deck for the most part was pretty consistent, but 2 Pal Pads was fine. I honestly probably could have played 1 Pal Pad, but two feels okay. Erica's, yeah, Erica's won me a couple games, and then some other people who played the same 60 with me or same 59 got even more value out of Erica's than I did. So I mean, I'll just want over back. It could be good. The only time I like felt back was kind of broken was up against Drago when I vacuumed away their temple and they couldn't get it back. That felt really good. And also just it's like the better card versus Dragapult. But I still lost versus all the bolts I hit, so it didn't make that big of a deal. But one of the games that I choked versus Pult, like Vacuum, was a key player, so I would have just used it better. I could have got it. But yeah, I was gonna say I'm satisfied with the run. I mean, there's always things to improve, right? But I feel like the list was good. Felt like a fine play. I just need to keep working on my own quality of play, you know. Mac and cheese, yeah, it was good. It's just an all-around solid card. Like, it's pretty good against Raging Bolt because I like randomly get like pretty big hands in the mid game. I mean, it's just good in a lot of random spots. Like, decks get big hands against you, so you can kind of punish that. But yeah, I don't want to say I'm disappointed because that's wrong. I'm unsatisfied. I know I can do more and be more, so until I have that perfect run, I will never be satisfied. But yeah, I think the list is good. If you're going to a cup or challenge this weekend, it remains pretty good play. If you're going to little regionals, I think the deck is very good. One kind of funny coincidence. I didn't mean for things to happen this way. But after I got my list locked up, I posted my list on the Metafy group, in like the paid in like what like the paid tier channels, and I accidentally sent the wrong list. Yeah, I'm trying to find. Why is this not working, bro? Real on the new. Um. So yes, I sent my um final take on Bird before Louisville in the Metafy group, and I accidentally sent the wrong lists. I had Artisan over Vac in the list I sent in the group, and then the list then King Heracross played Vac. I put Artisan over Vac and got top 32. So I technically I gave you access to the best bird list a few days early. So if you want more quality control content, then consider becoming a supporter on Metafy. I plan to do this for all the regionals I go to. Just have like a list once I like locked in on my list to just put it out on there, or just have like updates leading up to the event so y'all can be on the same page as me. But yeah. I was right and wrong at the same time. Yeah, I think I like Vac more, but I accidentally sent the wrong one in here, and it turned out to be right. But I just like Artisan is like supposed to be a consistency card, but oftentimes you just like aren't allowed to play it early because you need it to be a stadium bound, so it's like not even a consistency card, it's just helping your opponent set up. So like Vac you can use early to like deny Crystal versus Pole, or deny something versus like deny Forest, and you can immediately get it back off of Lecky, so you have it later to get rid of that stadium. So I personally am a vacuum enjoyer. I think it's better, but the list that did the best played Artisan, and I happened to put Artisan in here. So that was rather funny coincidence, but yeah, little shameless plug for the Metafy group. Gonna try to keep putting quality content out there. This was 5-1 best of 1. Yeah, I think it would be. A tropical beach next time. Something random like that. That would be funny. No, the Artisan v vacuum difference is such a minor thing. Like, I mean, in day 2, Bro hit 2 bolts and a thorns, like 3 incredibly favored matchups. So like that helps a lot. I mean, yeah, it happens. Like, I mean, the top tables were pretty advantageous for control. You just had to hit the right matchups. You still need Tom to help you out a little bit. Just because you play the right deck doesn't mean you're automatically doing extremely well. You still need some stuff to go your way. Playing Mesa Goza for Stadium Mouse and Pidgeot search. Yo, you're cooking. Just don't hit tails. At least it wasn't Guardy. I did dodge Guardy. I cut the Lugia attack and dodged Lugia. I cut Devo and dodged Zard. Like, yeah, I think the list was like pretty spot on for this tournament. But yeah, I just couldn't piece it together, unfortunately. yeah, I don't really have too much to add on the tournament run here. I feel like kind of got everything everything out I wanted to. Nah, Diva's not attack for Bolt. They play 3 Dracloaks. Like, so if they're smart, they'll just slow evolve like at least 1, maybe 2 cloaks. And Devo shouldn't be a factor. If they misplay, then sure. But like Devo is like more of a like just punishes bad play more than it like actually swings the matchup considerably. I do wish I had like another major in this format though. Like it felt so close here. The list felt so good, but yeah. The next US tournament is Sacramento, which is not. It's Surging Sparks legal, so do not get another shot to run it back, but I think it's fine. Deck's good. I would even do a Dusk Bolt if you can't retreat like Pidgeot. You can still retreat like other stuff in their deck. You still can Blood Moon Loop. You still can Mimikyu Wall. Like we got options. Like that was kind of the motivation behind Erica's was like we need retreat like to be a real win con. Like they can too easily play around it. So let's play Erica's. Or is it Denny? Regilucky. Regilucky just has more HP, so. But once Regilucky rotates, we got the replacement. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm like, each one of these majors like leaves me just like. Every time I felt like I can do better. So until I do as good as I know I'm capable of, I'm gonna stay motivated. I'm gonna keep working on it. But yeah, I don't know when the next stop for me is gonna be. Probably San Antonio, but who knows? We might try to piece something else together in here. That is a long ways away, like 3 months. I want to play some Pokemon. It's fine. Got some cups and stuff to work on and get those things filled out. Yeah, so sometimes Mawil's extra 90 damage can be something that comes up. It's like not the reason why you're playing the card, but it is like a nice bonus side effect that you sometimes get value out of. Yep. So yeah, the rest of the season, San Antonio, January 25th to on Limitless. The rest of the season for me is probably like San Antonio, NAIC, Milwaukee maybe. But we'll see what we can put together. Raging Bolt the goats. Raging Bolt is starting to hit deck. It is funny that everyone is dumping on it, and then it was like all over top tables the entire weekend. Yo, congrats on your run too, Smart. That was pretty sick to see. Bolt getting it done, silencing the haters, and like Azul was like leading the charge on the Bolt hate, and then his own group wins with it. Like, pretty hilarious. The script writers had fun with this one, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't really know what else I have to say about this one, chat. On weird weekends, this structure invites a lot of chaos. A lot of unhappy people. But yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. So I don't know if there's anything else y'all wanted me to talk about. I feel like we already I covered everything. How was Bear Control this weekend? You switching it up? It felt really good. Like, my losses were either to me being dumb, 2 of them, and then also just getting beat off the board by dust decks. So I feel like it was a good play. Like, seeing the same 59 get top 32 and be on the win it in, like, I feel like it kind of confirmed to me that it was a good play. Just I know I can be better. That's the thing I can take away from it. Like I still have a lot of area to improve. Like this, yeah, I'm playing Pidgeot control for probably for the rest of this part. We'll see how Surging Sparks looks. But yeah, I have no intention of stop playing the deck. Like every time I think I'm gonna quit playing it, I do go to it again. So just gonna keep rolling with it. I don't know, if I like sat down and played a ton of games like Terrapagos or something and got really good at Terrapagos, I probably would do better. But like, I don't know. It's fine. Road looks great for control. Yeah, that card looks kind of gross. It's our Luxray replacement. Not being able to slam support is a little sad, but literally every item is kind of disgusting. Yeah. Love like the random mash of meme decks at the bottom. We got Ogerpon, Mimikyu, Gouging Fire, all the Stalls and Thorns and Miraidons, Sablezard, Ancient Box, Arc Arm, all this goofiness at the bottom. Gholdengo, Palkia Noctowl. Yep, love to see it. All the goofiness. But yeah. I think that's gonna be it for me then. I'm just, yeah, I'm still recovering from the weekends of fun. But I'll probably be back on Wednesday night for late night. Still gonna keep grinding tournaments because why not? They're fun. I don't have any like other majors this format. We're gonna keep grinding. So you'll probably be back Wednesday. I also probably just try to run back the list from Louisville and try to get a dub or something. And then I'll see what other streams we find time for the rest of the week. I'm gonna also I really want to get my control guide video finished. So I'm gonna try to get that out by the end of the week. Maybe get an article written for somewhere. Some other control contents. Because I've getting a lot of requests for it, and I feel kind of bad because I promised it'd be out before Louisville, and I didn't get it done. So gotta lock in here, get back on the grinds. But yeah. Yeah, I definitely I don't know, I mentioned this earlier, but I gotta shout y'all out for everyone who like walked up and said something to me. It was a ton of people this weekend, and it was awesome. Like I'd never had people like give me so many cards or ask me to sign stuff or just say they enjoyed the channel. Like it was awesome. Like it makes me want to go to more of these because it's just so cool. Like I feel like I owe it to all of you guys. But yeah, I appreciate it. Y'all are awesome. I'll get one of these. I'll finally convert one of these runs eventually. I'll lock in and stop throwing big games, choking solid records. But all right. Check out the sponsors, link below. Blue Zeta, TC Evolutions. Subscribe, join the Discord, all those fancy things, awesome things I say at the end of the video, end of the stream. Be back on Wednesday with some more control gaming. And yeah, I will see y'all again real soon.